Okay, this is number 2 video looking at SEO, spammers and scammers, and the subject we're going to go for now, what is it here? I've got it here. We've studied and cracked Google's algorithm. That's a good one as well. Let's have a look at that. For a start, no one knows that. It's an absolute secret as to how Google gets its algorithms. There is a flip side to this that I'm saying to you is that when you see that, you know it's a spam. However, and there's this idea of, oh, people are just trying to sound scientific and yet nerdy, and somehow they can get this to you. And of course, it's appealing to anyone who's easily baffled by science. But even Google's employees haven't cracked the algorithm, because in fact things are being changed all the time. And so, in other words, once something's actually cracked, chances are, within a day or two, Google's going to make some sort of fine-tuning of it anyway. Now, that in itself, if people are telling you that, that is like a secondary scam, and saying to you, oh, it can't be done, because it can be done. And I actually have some websites, for example, cafes in Sydney, bars in Sydney. You'll see the sydneycafes.com.au website, and also they're both number 1 on Google and have been for years. So even though you can't entirely be in charge of Google, the fact is, of course, we don't have control over that, but when you actually do get there, and when you have somebody SEO you really, really well, you will find that you can actually stay in those places for years on end. In my case, the reason I got into SEO was that I was able to keep cafes in Sydney and bars in Sydney at number 1. And I even got another website that I do, wrote an article about sex in Sydney, and that's also number 1, and that's been there for at least 6, maybe even 7 years now. So yes, people who are telling you they will crack the algorithm of Google, they are definitely scammers and spammers. However, when something is done extraordinarily well and it's not a scam, the best place you get to, where you might get to number 3, you might get to number 5, you might get to number 1, once you get that place, you will tend to stay there, because Google is far more conservative than it likes people to actually perceive, and things will sit there for many, many years to come. So it could be the best move you ever made, getting someone like me, by clicking the link, getting somebody like me to SEO your website.